Hello, I'm Dr. Jingjing Lin. In the last video, I showed you that in the field of e-learning, the journal Computers and Education is a must read for beginner researchers. And to get notified when there are new updates from this journal, I suggest students to install RSS Feed Reader extension on their Chrome browser and subscribe to the journal's RSS feed. Now, when there are new issues of articles, the browser will notify the users. I usually read articles in the environment of Zotero. So the first step is to find the reference of the article in Google Scholar and import the reference of it into my Zotero library. Zotero has an extension on Google Chrome browser. It is very convenient to add records from Google Scholar to my Zotero library. Once the record has been added to the library, you can easily add a PDF file to it and open the file to annotate. Before diving into the PDF file to annotate and read, I would like to introduce 5 steps of reading. The first 2 steps are needed to judge if you need to read this paper seriously or not. And the remaining 3 steps are needed to read the paper seriously. These 5 steps include setting a goal, judging the relevance, planning the route, prioritized sectional reading, and sometimes paired with confusion removal reading. The first step is setting a goal of reading. When researchers read research articles, the activity itself usually starts with purpose or even multiple ones. Sometimes I read horizontally on other research topics to get inspired for new research directions. Some other times I read vertically on my research topic to dig deeper. Regarding this paper reading, it is the second case. Because I'm writing a paper recently by analyzing interviews of teaching award-winning teachers' online teaching experience during the pandemic time. Reading the interview transcripts offered some initial observations. However, I needed some insights from similar studies to offer me insights for transcript analysis and better position my research results by connecting my research with existing research. The second step is judging the relevance. Let's open the PDF file and see how the relevance judgment is done. The first thing I usually check is the title. In this title, some concepts captured my attention first. First is the teacher's belief. Second one is technology integration practices. The third one is relationship. So apparently this is a relationship study that focuses on teachers' beliefs and teachers' practice of integrating technology in their classrooms. Then I will move on to check the keywords. Here it has in-service teacher that suggests who is the population or sample under study in this research paper. Then technology use, technology integration. These are all the technology aspects in this paper. And the teacher technology use, that is to connect teacher and technology. And the final one is teacher professional development. So it's clearly a paper that focuses on teacher's perspective to understand better about teacher and the technology relationship. After reading title and keywords, my next step is to read abstract. And there are 2 concepts corresponding to teachers' beliefs, which is espoused beliefs, and teachers' technology integration practices, which is enacted beliefs. And it is said that there's a misalignment between these two, at least in part. This misalignment is due to external barriers. However, due to the technology advancement in majority of schools, these external barriers have been eliminated. And this is a multiple case study research that tried to revisit the question, how do these two beliefs align? How does this study measure the alignment between the two beliefs? Well, they used 12 K-12 classroom teachers as their sample. They were all winners of technology practices in classroom. Two sources of data were used. One is personal and classroom websites of those teachers. Another source of data is interviews. And the website's content reflect the enacted beliefs, which are the technology integration in classrooms, while the interviews express more about teachers' espoused beliefs. So comparing these two data sets, the authors got to measure the difference between the two. And the results suggest close alignment, which basically says if the teachers hold student-centered beliefs, they were more likely to conduct student-centered practices. And even though they may face different kind of barriers, they tend to overcome them and execute those student-centered curricula. At the same time, teachers' own beliefs and attitudes seem to be a big enabler of student-centered learning curricula. Although internal factors and the support from others played key roles in shaping teachers' practices of integrating technology in classrooms, it is also noted that the strongest barriers preventing teachers from using technology were their own existing attitudes and beliefs towards technology and their current levels of knowledge and skills. This paper is one of the most cited articles from the journal Computers and Education. By reading the title, the abstract, and the keywords, I can make a primary judgment of relevance that this article is highly relevant to serve my reading purpose and deserves more time to read. So let's move on to the next step. The third step is planning the route. Even though I decided to take more time to read this highly relevant paper, I will not read from the introduction to references word by word. That would take a lot of time and is not necessary when considering my goal. The goal that I set for reading this paper actually contains two directions of action. Find methods of analysis and identifying findings by others. It is now the perfect time to take a step back and think, where in this article can I most likely find answers that can bring me closer to my reading purpose? I call this action planning the best route. A journal article usually has some common structure of writing, which can include sections such as title, abstract, keywords, introduction, literature review, methods, results, discussion, and implications and conclusions. In this case, among all these sections, I will first read the methods to see how these authors analyzed the interviews, and then read the results section to check their primary findings. The fourth step is prioritize the sectional reading. This is where the true in-depth reading starts. I will move to section of methods of this article to read. In the methods section, I want to know how the authors analyzed their interview data. The procedure of selecting participants and conducting interviews, however, is no interest to me. The first paragraph mentioned the constant comparison method. However, the details are not revealed yet. So I will read further by scrolling down the pages. Table 2 lists the categories of classroom practices comparing teacher-centered classrooms and student-centered classrooms. This table is important in this study because it was not only used as a criteria to categorize teacher practices, but also used as an analysis framework for interview content. It is a good reference for my interview study as well. Another finding is that constant comparison method was introduced in the book of Corbin and Strauss, and in their book, which was published in 1998, called Basics of Qualitative Research, Techniques and Procedures for Developing Grounded Theory. So details of this constant comparison method can be found in the book. This study also reminds me of paying attention to writing about validity and reliability in my paper. A potential fifth step is confusion removal reading, which can sometimes be necessary to help to clear your confusion of certain background knowledge due to your skipping some background explanation sections, such as introduction and literature review. Confusion removal reading is to remove barriers that hinder your further reading and understanding of the article. Let me give you one example. When I was reading the section of results, I needed to understand better what are the research questions of this study to understand why they organize results section this way. Therefore, I returned to the part where research questions are explained. There are two research questions. The first research question is, how do these two beliefs align? The second question is, how do external barriers constrain the teacher's integration efforts, resulting in misalignment between the two beliefs? Let's put these relationships into a graph. So I tab out all the different concepts from the two research questions and then map them with some arrows. The pedagogical beliefs and technology integration practice, there's a relationship of alignment between the two. So I put them on a scale. And external barriers influence teachers' effort to integrate technology, and that effort influences the misalignment between the two beliefs. Now we know these concepts and relationship of them in visual way. We can see how the different subtitles under results section match with each concepts and relationship inside the two research questions. As a result, we can understand the section of results better in corresponding to the research questions raised by the authors. Let's now use this graph as a map to interpret the findings. Section 4.1 explains results of teachers' ratings of different factors that influence technology integration practice. The blue highlighted items in Table 2 are the most impactful barriers with a ranking greater than 2.5. They were all external barriers. The gray highlighted items are two least impactful barriers, and they are both internal barriers. It basically tells us that these award-winning teachers believed that their own beliefs, attitudes, knowledge, and skills are the least barriers to the technology integration practices, while external factors such as other teachers' attitudes and beliefs, technology support, state standards, money, technology access, time, and assessment are the most perceived barriers. Section 4.2 reports that there is a strong alignment between pedagogical beliefs of teachers and their enacted beliefs, which are their technology integration practices in classrooms. Table 4 shows the match between teachers' beliefs and practices. For instance, Hillman believes that teaching should be student-centered, authentic, and offer peer teaching and student choices. As a match to his beliefs, his teaching practices involves using iMovies technology and digital storytelling approach. The role of technology in his classroom is to enrich the curriculum. Simply achieving alignment between beliefs and practices does not necessarily lead to same types of technology integration practices. Section 4.3 of the results section introduces 3 roles of technology in classrooms. It referenced the research article by Ertmer and his colleagues in 1999 titled Examining Teachers' Beliefs about the Role of Technology in the Elementary Classroom. In this study, 2 teachers used technology to help students learn content and skills. 6 teachers used technology to go beyond the subject to enrich the current curriculum. 3 teachers reported using technology in transformative ways in order to support new kinds of pedagogies. Table 4 gives the details, and these 3 roles were in detail elaborated by 3 subsections that follows Table 4. Each subsection is dedicated to one role of the technology. Although student-centered pedagogical beliefs most likely can result in student-centered technology integration practices, teachers' efforts are still deeply influenced by external barriers. Section 4.4 introduces 1 teacher out of 12 interviewed teachers whose beliefs did not actually translate into practices as expected. Because the school of hers has several obvious restrictions placed on the hardware, resources, and internet access. Let me recap what I have achieved so far. There are 2 goals of reading. So the first goal was realized by finding that I need to read the book to look for the constant comparison method. The second goal was achieved by the fact that I understand now there are 3 aspects of findings from this paper. However, there is one confusion that I got from reading the results part of section 4.1. The fact is that here teachers were asked to rate on a scale from 1 to 5 the extent to which various barriers impacted their students' uses of technology. But in this paper, actually, it was about teachers' usage of technology. So I don't know, it's because of some mistake they made there, or it's the mistakes made during the design of the research, or it is their writing error in this paper. But I think the more precise reporting here or research design here will be to ask teachers to rank the extent to which various barriers impacted their own uses of technology in the classroom. I have completed recording this video, sharing with you one basically procedure of mine to read this research article. I hope it will benefit your research. Thank you very much.